Remember, we're studying this process that brings about the miracle of undoing our past. Teshuva on Yom Kippur undoes our past. The process, so far we discussed vidui. Vidui is acknowledging that there's something wrong with me. Not just that I did all sorts of rotten things. Because that we understand we're good people and part of being human is to make mistakes. But to realize that there are real issues. That there are real attitudes that have to be redone. That we do have to be rewired. Vidui is really locating our underlying issues so that we can go on and work on them. Now, the next one is Charata, which is regret and expressing regret. What is the purpose of regret? What is the purpose of regret? We're embarking upon a process of really changing the way we think, and by that, changing the way we act. That means that we're changing elements of our personalities. We're changing our very selves. That calls for a lot of work and persistence, stamina. How are we going to get there? Where do we get the energy to be able to change our very selves? So there's a secret to Charata. I want to share with you the secret. There's a story that you find in the books. The world-renowned psychiatrist Erickson tells of when he was brought in to do something for hardened criminals, people that were they got life sentences for murder, to see what he can prescribe for, therapy for them. What can change them? So he meets this one guy. He said he looked like the devil. This guy was guilty of multiple murders. He takes a look at him and he says, "You? Nothing is going to work for you. Nothing will ever become of you." Turns around and walks out. What happened? This criminal got so angry. He got so angry. I'm going to show him. So he spent the rest of his life trying to show Erickson that he was wrong, trying to prove him wrong. He got himself an education. He got himself a degree in law. He changed his life. Who won? Erickson said, "I saw this man, and what I saw in him was that his greatest strength was his anger. There was nothing more powerful than what this guy contained in his anger." So he said to himself, all I gotta do is get him angry. To use that anger to propel himself to really grow and get out of where he was. And that'll work. And that's what happened. We have to appreciate the power of anger and hatred. What is regret? What is regret? What really is regret? You know what regret is? Regret is taking a look at whatever these character flaws, midas ra's, wrong attitudes, whatever they are that we've got within us, realizing what they've done to us, realizing the damage they've done, to the point that we develop a repulsion, to the point that we are so pained, even to the point of anger, that we hate them. That we hate them. So that we will muster the emotional energy to foster change. Now, got to get things straight. We're not hating ourselves. We are not hating ourselves. We are not talking about guilt. We're not talking about guilt. What is real charata? Charata is not hating yourself. It's hating your yetzer hara. It's hating all of your character flaws. But listen, they're still part of us. They're part of us. How do we hate them without hating ourselves? So there's a secret. Who is responsible for our character flaws? Who's responsible? Who is responsible? You know who? The Creator Himself. Every one of us was created with his nefesh habahami, with his yetzer hara, with his midas ra'as, for the sake of having challenges and earning olam haba. So they were given to us by Hashem. Even anything that was not part of your DNA makeup, I guess, was acquired in your experiences in life. And we do believe in hashgacha. So all in all, Hashem's responsible. Hashem's responsible. Now, you gonna be angry at Him? No, 1 second. Along with our midas ra'as, He gave us the ability to overcome them. So be angry at yourself for not overcoming them. Oh, but you are overcoming them. You are now working on the process. That's what it's all about. Hashem created all of your character flaws for this moment. For the sake of you doing tshuva. For the sake of you realizing all of your underlying issues. And developing a repulsion, a hatred, an intolerance, so that you're going to change. So that you're really going to change the way you think. This is Charata. Charata is now that I understand this attitude, and I take a look at everything it got me to do. I hate it. I've got to get rid of it. It's got to change. I can't go on this way anymore. That's Charata. That's Charata. Muster all the emotional energy you can. Negative emotional energy. Because it's so powerful. Come on. There's nothing stronger than anger. There's nothing stronger than negativity. Use your negativity for your midas ra'as. You got to develop a hatred. I look back. I made such a mess of myself by not speaking up. I made such a mess of myself by not telling the truth. Why didn't I speak up? Why didn't I tell the truth? Because I was afraid of him. My fear of humans. My need for their approval. It's sick, it's off, and it's so damaging. It is so damaging. I gotta tell you a secret. For every one of our character flaws, Hashem sets us up with situations that bring out the worst in us, to make us aware of them. Hashem does that. It's a chesed. Hashem goes out of his way to make us aware of our character flaws. If you're someone who talks too much, Hashem will give you so many opportunities to put your foot in your mouth, to get yourself into trouble. He's going to set you up for that, so that you recognize that you've got to do something about it. Yeah, that's Charata. I can't stand this. I'd like to talk about something that Vidui and Charata really, something that they have in common. And that is what it is that you're going to say Vidui on. What are the issues you have to work on? You know, the yetzer hara on Yom Kippur has a heyday. He gets us to say Vidui all day long. He gets us to remember all our old averos. And he doesn't mind He's having a great time. He loves for us to just say al chait and maybe get bogged down on non-issues that are no longer part of our lifestyle. The Yetzer Hara does not mind you saying vidui from morning to night on Yom Kippur, or from night to night on Yom Kippur, as long as you don't change. So the first thing is, in your vidui, in this process of searching out the underlying issues and developing the hatred for them, the charata, you really have to ask yourself, what are my issues? What are my issues now? What are my issues now? Now, it could be that there's something that was part of my past that is no longer part of my behavior because I'm older, because I'm in a different environment. So you have to ask yourself, what was the underlying issue there? Is that still alive and well? It just took on a whole new form? I got to work on it. It's gone? Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. I'm often asked, Elul days, by Baalei Teshuva, should they be spending their whole Yom Kippur trying to remember all the averos they ever did? And I tell them, chas v'sholem. Chas v'sholem. Yom Kippur is a holy day. Yom Kippur is not a day you want to bring yourself back to your past. Essentially, you're past your past. What you do have to investigate is, are there any attitudes from your past that are alive and well today and only took on a new form? And I'll say this for everyone. Don't spend your Yom Kippur reliving your averos. You know, it's known that in Ger, they very quickly go through the vidui. And the way they explain it is they say the chimney cleaner is the filthiest man in town. If you spend the whole Yom Kippur thinking about chait, you don't come away from Yom Kippur white and holy. You come away all filthy. All filthy. It's a day for looking for disease, for attitudes. You understand that your actions are what reveal what your attitudes are. But don't go relive your past. That's not what Yom Kippur is about. It's not a matter of thinking of everything you did and crying about it and waking up memories that should not be part of your mind at all. That's not Yom Kippur. It's looking for the roots of your issues. And once again, developing a real repulsion. Things cannot remain the way they were. Things have to change. I cannot tolerate my old self. I've got to create a new self. And being very specific in terms of those attitudes. And take the old ones and hate them. That is Charata. That's Charata. Charata is not I'm evil. Charata is not I hate myself. Charata is I've already established that Hashem put into my personality something that is off and I can't stand it and I'm not going to tolerate it. That is Charata. You do that, you're going to be ready for the next level, which is already making your plans for the future. The Kabbalah Abba. Once you're armed with Charata, you've got the energy. You've got the energy for really changing and really growing, so that you don't find yourself going through the vidui every Yom Kippur and thinking about the same things because you haven't budged. You haven't changed. Once and for all, find your disease or diseases. Find what's wrong with you. Develop a repulsion. Be determined you're not going to tolerate it. You're not going to remain with it. Look at everything it did to you. Look at all the situations you were in only because of your mistaken attitudes. Know the person you want to be and the person you are instead. And just reject, with everything you've got, the attitudes that have been keeping you back, that have prevented you from becoming the person you know you want to be and can be. So we have vidui and we have charata. which will bring us to the next step, which is Kabbalah Haba, which is the real change.